The quiet hum of the USS Defiance filled the bridge as Captain Lisa Martinez reviewed the daily reports. 3 days into their patrol of the Outer Rim, nothing had happened. Her crew was getting restless. Space patrols were usually boring, but this one felt different somehow. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker sat at his station, monitoring the long-range sensors. The young officer had joined her crew 6 months ago, fresh from the academy. He was good at his job, but he still jumped at every small signal that came through. "Captain," Steve called out, his voice tight with concern. "I'm picking up something strange on the emergency channels." Lisa looked up from her tablet. "What kind of strange?" "It's a distress signal, but it's not coming from any human ship. The language is ... different. It sounds desperate." Lisa walked over to his station. It through the speakers. The bridge filled with a crackling transmission. The voice that came through was high and musical, nothing like human speech. But the universal translator caught most of the words, and what it translated made Lisa's blood run cold. "Please ... anyone who can hear this ... we need help. The Vorthok are coming. They will be here in 3 days. We have no weapons, no army, no way to fight them. Our children. Please, someone help our children." The transmission repeated several times before cutting to static. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew about the Vorthok Empire. They were one of the most feared military forces in the galaxy. They conquered worlds and enslaved entire populations. "Can you trace where that signal came from?" Lisa asked. "Already on it, Captain. It's coming from Kepler 442b. That's the Zilani homeworld, about 2 days from our current position." Lisa knew about the Zilani. They were a peaceful species, known throughout the galaxy for their skill with plants and medicine. They had helped develop several drugs that saved human lives. But they had no military, no weapons, no way to defend themselves. "Ma'am," came a voice from behind her. It was Chief Engineer Emma Davis, a veteran with 20 years of service. "I know that world. My daughter Sarah flies patrol missions near there sometimes. The Zilani are good people. They've never hurt anyone." Lisa nodded. She had met a few Zilani during her career. They were gentle creatures, tall and graceful, with patches of light on their skin that changed color when they felt different emotions. The idea of the Vorthok attacking them made her sick. "Get me Admiral Thompson on Earth," she ordered. "Priority channel." It took several minutes to establish the connection. When Admiral Jake Thompson's face appeared on the screen, he looked tired. "It was late at night on Earth. Captain Martinez, this better be important." "Sir, we've intercepted a distress call from the Zilani homeworld. The Vorthok Empire is planning to invade in 3 days." The Admiral's expression changed immediately. "Are you certain?" "Yes, sir. The signal was clear. They're asking for help to evacuate their children." Thompson was quiet for a long moment. "Captain, the nearest battle fleet is 3 weeks away. Your patrol group is the only Earth force in that sector." Lisa felt her stomach drop. Her patrol consisted of just 3 ships. The USS Defiance, Captain Mike Johnson's USS Ranger, and Captain Amy Williams' USS Guardian. Together, they had 800 crew members. Intelligence reports said the Vorthok usually attacked with fleets of 50 ships or more. "Sir, what are your orders?" "Stand by, Captain. I need to contact Earth Command." The connection ended, leaving Lisa staring at a blank screen. She looked around the bridge at her crew. They'd all heard the conversation. They knew what this meant. Steve spoke up first. "Captain, the Vorthok fleet will have at least 10,000 warriors. We have 800 people total." "I can do math, Lieutenant Commander." Lisa's voice was sharper than she intended. She took a deep breath. "Emma, get me Captains Johnson and Williams on a secure channel." Within minutes, both captains appeared on her screen. Mike Johnson looked concerned but determined. Amy Williams appeared to be checking weapon systems on her ship. "You both heard the transmission?" Lisa asked. "We did," Mike replied. "Zilani don't deserve this." Amy nodded. A tactical officer ran the numbers. "If the Vorthok send their usual invasion force, we're looking at 50 ships minimum, each one bigger than all 3 of ours put together. So we can't win a straight fight," Lisa said. But maybe we don't have to fight fair. Mike smiled grimly. What are you thinking, the Vorthok? Expect easy victories? They attack peaceful worlds that can't fight back? They've never faced humans before. They've never faced Deathworlders, Amy added. Throughout the galaxy, humans were known as Deathworlders. Earth was so dangerous that just surviving there made humans tougher than most other species. Lisa felt a spark of hope. Exactly. They think in terms of big battles and overwhelming force. We think in terms of survival. The three captains spent the next hour discussing possibilities. The Kepler system had asteroid fields that could provide cover. The planet itself had dangerous regions that humans could navigate but other species avoided. Most importantly, the Zilani had technology that could help, if they were willing to use it for war. During their discussion, more reports came in. The Galactic Council had received the same distress call. Their response was typical. They expressed sympathy, but said they had treaties with the Vorthok that prevented interference. Several peaceful species offered to take refugees, but none offered to fight. It's always the same, Amy said bitterly. Everyone feels sorry, but nobody wants to get their hands dirty. Lisa made her decision. Signal both your crews. Changing course for Kepler 4. For to be full speed, Captain Steve interrupted. Admiral Thompson hasn't given us orders yet. 8. Then we'll ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Lisa stood up. Open a channel to both ships. When the channel was ready, she spoke to all 800 members of her small fleet. This is Captain Martinez. By now you've all heard about the situation at Kepler 44b. The Zilani are facing invasion by the Vorthok Empire. The odds against us are terrible. Anyone who wants to transfer to a supply ship and return to Earth can do so. No questions asked. She paused, looking around her bridge. But if you stay, you'll be part of something important. For the first time in galactic history, someone is going to stand up to the Vorthok. Someone is going to fight for people who can't fight for themselves. The response was immediate. Across all 3 ships, crew members volunteered to stay. Not a single person asked to transfer out. Emma Davis spoke for many of them when she said, "My daughter's the same age as those Zilani children. We're not leaving them to die." As the 3 ships changed course, Lisa received another transmission. This one came from Earth Command. Admiral Thompson appeared on screen, but this time he wasn't alone. The entire Earth Defense Council was behind him. Captain Martinez, Earth Command, has reviewed the situation. We cannot officially order you to engage a superior Vorthok force. Lisa's heart sank, but Thompson continued. However, we also cannot order you to ignore a legitimate distress call. The decision is yours to make as the ranking officer in that sector. Council member Helen Grant stepped forward. Captain, Earth's official position is that we hope you will make the right choice. The transmission ended with a simple message. Good luck. Lisa looked around her bridge one more time. Her crew was already working, preparing for what might be their final mission. In 2 days, they would reach Kepler 44b. In 3 days, the Vorthok would arrive. She opened a channel to the Zilani homeworld. This is Captain Lisa Martinez of the Earth vessel USS Defiance. We received your distress call. Help is on the way. The response came quickly, filled with hope and gratitude. Elder Kale, the Zilani leader, spoke through tears. Thank you, brave humans. We will never forget this. As her ship jumped to hyperspace, Lisa wondered if any of them would live long enough for the Zilani to remember them. But it didn't matter. Sometimes you had to fight impossible battles. Sometimes you had to stand up for people who couldn't stand up for themselves. That was what it meant to be human. The 3 human ships raced through space toward Kepler 4 for to be. Captain Lisa Martinez sat in her command chair, watching the stars streak past on the main screen. In 18 hours, they would arrive at the Zilani homeworld. In 36 hours, the Vorthok invasion fleet would arrive. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker worked at his station, running battle simulations over and over. Each time, the result was the same. Humans would be destroyed in minutes. Captain Steve said quietly, I've run the numbers 47 times. Even if everything goes perfectly for us, we can't win. Lisa nodded. She had expected this. Show me the worst-case scenario. Steve put the simulation on the main screen. It showed 3 small human ships facing 50 massive Vorthok dreadnoughts. The battle lasted exactly 4 minutes and 12 seconds. All human ships were destroyed. The Vorthok lost nothing. In our best case? Lisa asked. Another simulation played. This time the humans used hit-and-run tactics, hiding in asteroid fields and attacking supply ships. The battle lasted 23 minutes. All human ships were still destroyed, but they managed to damage 3 Vorthok vessels. The bridge fell silent. Everyone had seen the numbers. Everyone knew what they meant. Chief Engineer Emma Davis spoke up from her station. Captain, my daughter. Sarah is on the USS Ranger. She's 22 years old. She has her whole life ahead of her. Lisa turned to look at Emma. The older woman's face was calm, but her hands were shaking slightly. Emma continued. But you know what she told me last night? She said those Zilani children deserve to have their whole lives ahead of them too. She said if we don't fight for them, who will? Across the ship, similar conversations were happening. In the engine room, Petty Officer Ryan Foster told his crew that his little brother had been saved by Zilani medicine when he was sick. In the weapons bay, Sergeant Kevin Wright reminded his team that the Zilani had never hurt anyone in their entire history. On the USS Ranger, Captain Mike Johnson faced his own crew. His tactical officer, Lieutenant Amy Chen, had calculated their odds of survival at less than 1%. Sir, Amy said, maybe we should consider other options. We could evacuate as many Zilani as possible and retreat. Mike shook his head. 3 ships can't evacuate an entire planet, and where would we take them? The Vorthok would just follow and finish the job. On the USS Guardian, Captain Amy Williams was having the same discussion with her officers. Commander David Lee, her second-in-command, suggested they could send a message to other species asking for help. We already tried that, Amy replied. The Galactic Council won't act. The peaceful species can't act. We're the only ones who will act. Back on Earth, Admiral Jake Thompson sat in an emergency meeting with the Earth Defense Council. The room was tense. Everyone knew that 3 ships couldn't stop a Vorthok invasion. But nobody wanted to be the one to abandon the Zilani. Councilmember Helen Grant slammed her hand on the table. We cannot send our people to die for aliens we barely know. Suicide. Dr. Kevin Wright, Earth's top expert on alien species, disagreed. The Zilani are one of our most valuable allies. We've shared medical knowledge that has saved millions of human lives. We owe them. We owe them trade agreements and friendship, Helen shot back. We don't owe them the lives of 800 of our people. Admiral Thompson listened to the argument, but his mind was made up. The decision isn't ours to make. Captain Martinez is the ranking officer in that sector. It's her call, and order her to retreat, Helen demanded. I won't do that, Thompson replied firmly. She knows the situation better than we do. She has to make the choice. Meanwhile, the human fleet continued toward Kepler-4 for to be. Lisa had called a meeting with her senior officers. They gathered in the briefing room, studying star charts and intelligence reports about the Vorthok. Tell me about Vorthok battle tactics, Lisa said to Steve. They're straightforward, he replied. Overwhelming force, direct assault, no subtlety. They've never needed to be clever because they always have superior numbers. What about their ground forces? 8 feet tall, natural, armor plating for arms. Each warrior carries multiple weapons. They're bred for combat from birth. Lisa studied the reports. They sound scary, but they also sound predictable. They expect their enemies to be as straightforward as they are. Emma Davis leaned forward. Captain, what if we don't fight the way they expect? What do you mean? Humans didn't evolve on a peaceful world like the Zilani. We evolved on Earth. Every day was a fight for survival. We learned to be sneaky, to use tools, to work together, in ways that bigger, stronger predators couldn't match. Lisa felt a spark of hope. Keep talking. The Vorthok expect a traditional space battle. Big ships shooting at each other in formation. But what if we don't give them that? What if we fight like humans have always fought? Like underdogs who refuse to give up? Steve was already working on his tablet. Kepler system has 3 asteroid belts. If we could lure them in there, their big ships would be at a disadvantage. And the planet itself, Emma added. I've read the surveys. There are regions so dangerous that the Zilani won't go near them. But humans could survive there. For the first time since receiving the distress call, Lisa began to believe they might have a chance. Not a good chance, but a chance. The discussion was interrupted by an incoming transmission. Elder Kale appeared on the screen, his bioluminescent patches glowing blue with worry. Captain Martinez, we have detected the Vorthok fleet on our sensors. They are larger than we expected. 60 ships, not 50. Lisa felt her heart sink, but kept her voice steady. We're still coming, Elder Kale. Are your people ready to evacuate? We are trying, but we move slowly. We have never needed to hurry before. Many of our people don't understand the danger. What about your planetary defenses? Elder Kale's patches turned purple with embarrassment. We have no weapons, Captain. We dismantled our last defense systems over 1,000 years ago when we achieved peace. After the transmission ended, Lisa's officers looked grim. 60 ships instead of 50. A peaceful population that didn't know how to evacuate quickly. No planetary defenses. Captain, Steve said quietly, should I signal Earth? Ask for new orders? Lisa was quiet for a long moment, then she stood up and walked to the viewport. Outside, stars raced past as they continued toward what might be their deaths. No, she said finally. We're not asking for permission to do the right thing. She turned back to her officers. Send a message to the other ships. All senior staff, emergency meeting in 2 hours. We're going to plan this properly. As her officers filed out, Emma stayed behind. Captain, can I ask you something? Of course. Why are we really doing this? Is it because of our alliance with the Zilani? Is it for political reasons? Lisa thought about the question. Do you remember the first time you saw a Zilani? Emma smiled. Yes, it was at the medical conference on Luna Station. Dr. Naya was presenting her research on cancer treatments. She was so excited to share knowledge that could help other species. That's why we're doing this, Lisa said. Because when good people are in trouble, other good people help them. It doesn't matter what species they are. 2 hours later, the senior staff from all 3 ships met via secure video link. The plan they developed was ambitious, dangerous, and probably insane. It relied on everything that made humans different from other species in the galaxy. They would split their forces. 2 ships would engage the Vorthok fleet directly using the asteroid fields for cover. The 3rd ship would land on the planet and coordinate with the Zilani, turning the peaceful world's own environment into a weapon. It wasn't a plan that guaranteed victory, but it was a plan that might give the Zilani a chance. And sometimes, that was all you could ask for. As the meeting ended, Lisa received a final message from Earth. Admiral Thompson appeared on her screen one last time. Captain, I want you to know that Earth is proud of you and your crews. Whatever happens, you're representing the best of humanity. Lisa saluted. Thank you, sir. We won't let you down. The transmission ended. In 12 hours, they would reach Kepler 4-4b. In 24 hours, the battle would begin. Lisa looked around her bridge at her crew. They were scared, but they were ready. They were about to face impossible odds to save people they had never met. That was what it meant to be human. The USS Defiance dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. Captain Lisa Martinez stood on her bridge, watching the peaceful blue and green world of Kepler 4-4b appear on the main screen. It looked beautiful and calm. In 18 hours, it would become a battlefield. Captain Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker reported, I'm getting readings from the planet's surface. The Zilani are trying to evacuate, but it's going slowly. Lisa nodded. She had expected this. The Zilani were a peaceful people who had never faced a crisis like this before. They didn't know how to move quickly when their lives depended on it. The other 2 human ships, USS Ranger and USS Guardian, appeared on either side of the Defiance. Captain Mike Johnson's voice came over the communication channel. Lisa, we're picking up long-range sensors. The Vorthok fleet is 18 hours out, just like we calculated. Any changes to their numbers? Lisa asked. Still 60 ships? of them big enough to crack a planet. Lisa felt her stomach tighten, but kept her voice calm. All ships, maintain formation. We're going in. As they moved deeper into the system, Steve began scanning the area around Kepler-4 for 2b. What he found made him smile for the first time in days. Captain, the asteroid fields are perfect. 3 separate belts, all of them thick enough to hide. Our ships, rocks are full of metals that will mess up their targeting systems. What about the planet itself? Chief Engineer Emma Davis answered from her station. I've been studying the Zilani survey reports. The regions they call the burning valleys, where the ground is so hot it melts metal. There are also areas with poisonous gases that would kill most species in minutes. But not humans, Lisa said. Not humans, Emma confirmed. Oh. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. This planet's dangers are nothing compared to what our ancestors survived on Earth. Lisa opened a channel to Elder Kale on the planet's surface. The Zilani leader appeared on screen, his bioluminescent patches flickering with stress. Captain Martinez, we are grateful you came, but our evacuation is not going well. Many of our people are too frightened to leave their homes. Others move too slowly. We will not be ready in time. Elder Kale, we need to talk about your planet's defenses. I know the Zilani are peaceful, but do you have any technology that could be used as a weapon? The Elder's patches turned deep purple with shame. We destroyed all weapons long ago, but ... He paused, thinking, there is something. Our scientist, Dr. Naya, has been studying the planet's electromagnetic field. She says it could be used to disrupt electronic systems, but it would require precise timing. Put me in contact with Dr. Naya immediately. A few minutes later, a younger Zilani appeared on screen. Dr. Naya's patches were bright yellow with excitement and fear. Captain, I have been working on this for years as a research project. The planet's core creates powerful electromagnetic pulses, but they are usually blocked by the atmosphere. If we could remove those blocks at the right moment, what would happen? Any ship in orbit would lose power for several minutes, maybe longer for ships with sensitive electronics. Lisa felt hope rising in her chest. How do we make it happen? There are 6 control stations around the planet. They would all need to be activated at exactly the same time. But Captain, these stations are in the most dangerous places on our world. No Zilani has ever survived a trip to all of them. Dr. Naya, humans aren't Zilani. Send us the locations. While Dr. Naya transmitted the data, Lisa called a meeting with her senior officers. They gathered around the tactical display, studying the information about the planet and the approaching Vorthok fleet. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Foster, who had joined the mission as a ground operations specialist, examined the locations of the electromagnetic control stations. Captain, these sites are spread across the entire planet. The burning valleys, the poisoned swamps, the ice mountains where the wind can freeze you solid in seconds. It would take a team of our best people to reach them all. How many people? Lisa asked. At least 30. Maybe more if things go wrong. Steve looked up from his calculations. Captain, if we send 30 people to the surface, that leaves us very short-handed for the space battle. Lisa studied the tactical display. The Vorthok fleet was massive, but it was also predictable. It would approach in standard formation, expecting an easy victory. They had never fought humans before. They didn't know what Deathworlders were capable of. Here's what we're going to do, she said. Ryan, you'll take a team of 30 volunteers to the surface. Your job is to work with Dr. Naya and get those electromagnetic stations ready. Yes, ma'am, she said, addressing Captain Johnson over the comm channel. Your ship has the best engines. You'll be our mobile striker. Hit-and-run attacks. Never stay in one place long enough for them to get a solid lock on you. Understood? Amy, she continued to Captain Williams, your ship has the heaviest weapons. You'll be our anvil. Find a good position in the asteroid field and make them come to you. What about the Defiance? Steve asked. Lisa smiled grimly. We're going to do something the Vorthok won't expect. We're going to make them angry. Over the next few hours, the 3 human ships prepared for battle in ways that would have surprised most galactic military experts. Instead of forming up in neat formations, they scattered throughout the system. Instead of preparing for traditional ship-to-ship combat, They loaded their cargo bays with makeshift weapons and mining equipment. Commander Ryan Foster selected his ground team carefully. He chose people who had grown up on frontier worlds, who were used to dangerous environments. Sergeant Kevin Wright had survived the toxic storms of Mars Colony. Corporal Janet Brown had worked in the underwater cities of Europa. These were people who thrived in places that would kill most other species. As they prepared to land on Kepler 442b, Dr. Naya sent them detailed information about each electromagnetic station. The first was located in a valley where the ground temperature reached 200 degrees. The second was surrounded by gases that would burn human lungs. The third was on top of a mountain where the wind could throw a person off a cliff. Sounds like a lovely vacation spot, Sergeant Wright joked as he checked his environmental suit. Meanwhile, in space, the 3 human ships took their positions. Captain Johnson moved the USS Ranger to the outer asteroid belt, where he could use the rocks for cover while making hit-and-run attacks. Captain Williams positioned the USS Guardian in the middle asteroid belt, where the rocks were thick enough to hide her ship, but still give her clear shots at approaching enemies. Lisa kept the USS Defiance in the inner system, close to the planet. Her job was the most dangerous. She would be the bait, the target that drew the Vorthok fleet into the trap. As the hours passed, more information came in about the approaching enemy. The Vorthok fleet was led by War Commander Thrak, a veteran who had conquered 12 worlds. His flagship was a massive dreadnought called the Death's Edge, equipped with enough weapons to destroy a small moon. Captain Steve reported, "I'm picking up Vorthok communications. They're laughing about us." "What are they saying?" "War Commander Thrak is telling his fleet that this will be the easiest conquest in Vorthok history. 3 tiny ships against 60 dreadnoughts. He says they'll be home in time for dinner." Lisa felt anger rising in her chest. The Vorthok thought, this would be easy because they had always fought peaceful species who couldn't fight back. They had never faced humans. They had never faced a species that refused to give up, no matter how bad the odds looked. Steve opened a channel to the entire fleet, all ships, all personnel. When the channel was ready, Lisa spoke to her 800 crew members scattered across 3 ships and the planet's surface. "This is Captain Martinez. In 2 hours, the Vorthok fleet will arrive. They think we're going to be easy targets. They think we'll run away or surrender when we see how big their fleet is." She paused, looking around her bridge at the faces of her crew. "They're wrong. We're not here to win a traditional battle. We're here to show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens innocent people. We're here to prove that sometimes the smallest force can make the biggest difference." Across the fleet, crew members nodded and checked their weapons one final time. "The Vorthok call us Deathworlders because we come from a planet that tried to kill us every day. Today, we're going to show them why that makes us dangerous. Today, we fight like humans." The channel closed. In the distance, sensors detected the first signs of the approaching Vorthok fleet. 60 massive ships, confident in their power, expecting an easy victory. They were about to learn why humans were feared throughout the galaxy. Even when they were outnumbered 75-1, the battle for Kepler 442b was about to begin. The Vorthok fleet dropped out of hyperspace like a swarm of metal death. 60 massive ships, each one larger than all 3 human vessels combined, spread out in perfect formation. War Commander Thrak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Death's Edge, and laughed at what his sensors showed him. 3 tiny ships, he growled to his officers. "The humans must be insane to think they can stop us." His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vex, studied the tactical display. "War Commander, the human ships are not in formation. They appear to be scattered throughout the system, probably trying to run away," Thrak replied. "Hunt them down. Make examples of them. The galaxy needs to see what happens when someone interferes with the Vorthok Empire." What Thrak didn't understand was that the humans weren't running. They were hunting. Captain Lisa Martinez watched from the bridge of the USS Defiance as the enemy fleet spread out. Her ship was positioned close to the planet, making it an obvious target, just as she had planned. "Captain Lieutenant Commander?" Steve Parker reported, "The Vorthok are taking the bait. 10 ships are breaking off to attack us. Perfect. All stations prepare for evasive maneuvers. Emma, I need everything the engines can give us." Chief Engineer Emma Davis smiled grimly. From her station, Captain, these engines were built on Earth. They're designed to work in conditions that would melt most alien technology. We're ready. The lead Vorthok ship opened fire. Massive energy beams lanced through space where the Defiance had been. Second before, but the human ship was already moving, diving toward the planet's atmosphere at a speed that made the Vorthok gunners miss their shots. They're too fast, the Vorthok gunner reported to his captain. Our targeting computers can't track them. The Vorthok ships were built for overwhelming firepower, not for chasing small, fast targets. They were designed to destroy other large ships in traditional battles. They had never faced an enemy that refused to fight fair. Meanwhile, in the outer asteroid belt, Captain Mike Johnson watched the Vorthok fleet spread out. His ship, the USS Ranger, was hidden behind a large asteroid, completely invisible to enemy sensors. Target their supply ships first, he told his weapons officer, Lieutenant Sarah Davis. Hit them where it hurts, then run before they can respond. Ranger burst from behind the asteroid, fired a full spread of missiles at a Vorthok supply vessel, then immediately dove back into the asteroid field. The supply ship exploded in a ball of fire, taking with it the fuel and ammunition for 10 Vorthok fighters. What was that? War Commander Thrak demanded as alarms sounded on his ship. Unknown, sir? The attack came from the asteroid field, but our sensors showed nothing there. In the middle asteroid belt, Captain Amy Williams had positioned her ship, the USS Guardian, in the perfect ambush spot. The asteroids around her were rich in metals that confused enemy sensors, making her ship invisible until she wanted to be seen. A group of 5 Vorthok ships moved through the belt, hunting for the human vessels. They flew in tight formation, protecting each other with overlapping shields and weapons. Amy waited until they were directly in front of her, then opened fire with every weapon her ship carried. The lead Vorthok vessel took the full blast and exploded instantly. The others scattered in panic, trying to find cover among the asteroids, but asteroids that could hide. A human ship were deadly obstacles for the much larger Vorthok vessels. 2 more ships crashed into rocks while trying to escape. The remaining 2 limped away, badly damaged. Impossible, War Commander Thrak snarled. How are 3 ships causing this much damage? On the planet's surface, Commander Ryan Foster and his team were fighting a different kind of battle. They had split into 6 groups, each racing toward one of the electromagnetic control stations. The Zilani had been right about the dangers. The planet was trying to kill them at every step. Sergeant Kevin Wright led his team through the burning valley, where the ground temperature was hot enough to melt steel. Their environmental suits were working at maximum capacity, but they were still moving forward. On Earth, humans had learned to survive in deserts where the heat could kill in minutes. This was just another hot day. Corporal Janet Brown took her team through the poison swamps, where the air was filled with gases that would dissolve most species' lungs. But humans had evolved to survive in environments with toxic air, had lived through pollution that would have killed most other species. The poison gas was dangerous, but not deadly to properly equipped humans. The other teams faced ice storms that could freeze flesh in seconds, winds that could throw a person off a mountain, and radiation levels that would cook most aliens. But humans were Deathworlders. They had evolved on a planet that had thrown everything at them for millions of years. Each team reached their station and began preparing the electromagnetic weapon. Back in space, the battle was turning into a nightmare for the Vorthok. They had expected a quick, easy victory. Instead, they were being picked apart by an enemy they couldn't catch or corner. Lisa Martinez piloted the Defiance. Through a series of maneuvers that would have been impossible for most ships, she dove through the planet's upper atmosphere, using the gravity to slingshot around and attack from unexpected angles. The Vorthok ships chasing her couldn't match these moves. Their larger size made them slow and clumsy. How are they doing? This Sub-Commander Vex asked in frustration. War Commander Thrak was beginning to understand. They're not fighting like civilized species. They're fighting like wild animals. He was right, but he didn't understand what that meant. Humans hadn't become the top species on Earth by being civilized. They had done it by being smart, adaptable, Absolutely refusing to give up no matter how bad things looked, Captain Johnson in the USS Ranger was proving this point perfectly. His ship appeared and disappeared throughout the asteroid field like a ghost. Every time the Vorthok thought they had cornered him, he would vanish and appear somewhere else, destroying another supply ship or picking off damaged vessels. A Vorthok officer reported, "We've lost 15 ships so far. The humans have lost none." The rat couldn't believe what he was hearing. His massive fleet was being destroyed by 3 tiny ships. It was impossible. It was humiliating. All ships, concentrate fire on the planet. If we can't catch the humans, we'll destroy what they're trying to protect. 20 Vorthok ships turned their weapons toward Kepler-4 for 2B. Energy beams powerful, enough to crack countenance, lanced down toward the peaceful world. But Lisa had been waiting for this moment. Steve signaled the surface teams. Now on the planet, all 6 teams activated their electromagnetic stations at exactly the same moment. Dr. Naya had done her calculations perfectly. The planet's natural electromagnetic field, boosted by the control stations, sent a massive pulse through the entire system. Every Vorthok ship was hit by the electromagnetic wave. Their advanced electronics, designed for use in the clean space between stars, couldn't handle the massive interference. Weapon systems shut down. Engines failed. Life support systems flickered. The 20 ships that had been firing on the planet suddenly found themselves dead in space, helpless and defenseless. Lisa didn't waste the opportunity. All ships concentrate fire on the disabled vessels. 3 human ships struck like wolves attacking a wounded deer. The USS Defiance, USS Ranger, and USS Guardian poured fire into the helpless Vorthok ships. Within minutes, half of Thrak's fleet was destroyed or so badly damaged it couldn't fight. War Commander. Thrak watched his fleet burning around him and felt something he had never experienced before: fear. These humans had done the impossible. They had turned his overwhelming advantage into a death trap. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving surrender demands from the human fleet." Thrak's pride warred with his survival instinct. He had never surrendered in his life, but he had also never faced an enemy like this. "War Commander," Subcommander Vex said quietly, "if we continue this battle, we will all die. These humans, they fight like nothing we've ever seen." Thrak looked at the tactical display one more time. His fleet was broken. His reputation was ruined. But some of his people might still survive if he made the right choice. For the first time in Vorthok history, a war commander was about to surrender to an inferior force. But Lisa Martinez wasn't done with him yet. War Commander Thrak stared at the ruins of his fleet. Half of his 60 ships were destroyed or floating dead in space. The other half were badly damaged and barely able to fight. His reputation as an unbeatable conqueror was burning around him, like the wreckage of his dreadnoughts. "Sir," his communications officer said with a shaking voice, "the humans are demanding our surrender." Thrak felt rage building in his chest. No Vorthok had ever surrendered to an inferior force. But as he looked at the tactical display, he realized these humans were not inferior. They were something else entirely. "Open a channel to the human fleet," he growled. Captain Lisa Martinez appeared on his screen. She looked calm and determined. Not like someone who had just won an impossible victory. "Or Commander Thrak, this is Captain Martinez. You have one chance to withdraw your forces and leave this system peacefully." Thrak's pride flared. "You think 3 small ships can dictate terms to the Vorthok Empire? I think 30 destroyed ships and 20 more that can barely move speak." "For themselves," Lisa replied calmly. "But if you want to continue this fight, we're ready." Thrak looked at his officers. They were all staring at him, waiting for his decision. He could order his remaining ships to fight to the death, but what would that accomplish? More Vorthok would die, and the humans would probably still win. For the first time in his career, Thrak made a choice that put his warriors' lives ahead of his own pride. "We withdraw," he said through gritted teeth. "Not so fast," Lisa said. "Have ground forces on the planet. Recall them immediately." "They will not retreat," Thrak replied. "Vorthok warriors do not run from battle." "Then they'll die on that planet, and so will you." Thrak was about to reply when his tactical officer spoke up. "We're detecting movement on the planet's surface." The human ground forces are attacking our landing sites. On Kepler 442b, Commander Ryan Foster and his teams had finished activating the electromagnetic stations. Now they were doing what humans did best, adapting to a new situation and fighting back. The Vorthok ground forces were designed for conquering peaceful populations. They moved in large groups, expecting to face no real resistance. They had never fought an enemy that used the environment as a weapon. Sergeant Kevin Wright led his team through the burning valleys, using the extreme heat to their advantage. When Vorthok warriors tried to follow, their armor overheated and their weapons malfunctioned. The humans, protected by suits designed for the worst conditions on Earth, picked them off one by one. Corporal Janet Brown used the poison swamps in the same way. The toxic gases that would kill most species in minutes were just another hazard to humans, who had evolved to survive in dangerous environments. The Vorthok, breathing through filters that couldn't handle the planet's natural poisons, found themselves choking and helpless. Dr. Naya and Elder Kale watched from the safety of the Zilani capital city as the human warriors eliminated the Vorthok ground forces with ruthless efficiency. "They fight like the storms," Dr. Naya whispered in amazement.
Always.
"Everywhere at once, impossible to predict, unstoppable." Elder Kale's bioluminescent patches glowed with gratitude. "We will never forget what they have done for us." Back in space, War Commander Thrak received reports of his ground forces being destroyed. The humans were not just winning, they were making it look easy. "Sir," Subcommander Vex said quietly, "we must retreat now, or we will lose everything." What? Knew his second-in-command was right. But the shame of defeat burned in his chest like poison. He had conquered 12 worlds for the Vorthok Empire. He had never lost a battle. The idea of surrendering to humans was unbearable. In desperation, he made one final, terrible decision. All remaining ships, target the Zilani population centers. If we cannot win, we will make sure these humans understand the cost of defying us. The order shocked even his own officers. Targeting civilians was considered dishonorable, even by Vorthok standards. But Thrak was beyond caring about honor. He only wanted to hurt the humans who had humiliated him. 20 damaged Vorthok ships turned their weapons toward the peaceful cities of Kepler 4 for to be. Energy beams lanced down from orbit, aimed at millions of innocent Zilani. Lisa Martinez saw what was happening and felt cold fury fill her heart. The Vorthok had revealed their true nature. They were not warriors. They were bullies who attacked the defenseless when they couldn't win a fair fight. All ships, emergency speed. "Stop those bombardments now." 3 human vessels raced toward the Vorthok ships firing on the planet. The USS Defiance, USS Ranger, and USS Guardian poured every weapon they had into the enemy vessels. But they were too far away. Some of the Vorthok beams would reach the planet before the humans could stop them. That was when Dr. Naya proved that even peaceful species could be dangerous when protecting their families. Working with the human technical teams still on the surface, she activated the electromagnetic pulse system one more time. But instead of a single pulse, she created a continuous field that surrounded the entire planet. The Vorthok energy beams hit the electromagnetic barrier and scattered harmlessly into space. Not a single shot reached the surface. At the same time, the continuous electromagnetic field completely destroyed the electronics on every Vorthok ship in orbit. Engines failed. Life support shut down. Weapons went dead. Thrak watched his flagships systems die around him and realized he had lost everything. His fleet was destroyed. His reputation was ruined. His warriors were dead or captured in the tradition of his people. There was only one honorable choice left, War Commander. Thrak drew his ceremonial blade and ended his own life rather than face the shame of total defeat. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. The peaceful species that had watched helplessly as the Vorthok invaded system after system suddenly realized that someone had finally stood up to the bullies. The Galactic Council received hundreds of communications demanding action. Species that had remained neutral for centuries began reaching out to Earth. asking for alliance with the honorable Deathworlders. Most importantly, 12 other species volunteered to join what became known as the Kepler Defense Coalition. These were species from dangerous worlds like Earth, who understood what it meant to fight for survival every day. On Earth, Admiral Jake Thompson found himself dealing with more requests for meetings than he could handle. The peaceful species wanted protection. The warrior species wanted alliance. Everyone wanted to know more about the humans who had defeated an unbeatable enemy. Captain Lisa Martinez was promoted to admiral and given command of the new coalition fleet. Her first officers were Elder Kale and Dr. Naya, who had asked to join the human fleet to help protect other peaceful worlds. The USS Defiance became the flagship of a fleet that included ships from a dozen different species, all united by the belief that good people should protect other good people, no matter what species they were. 6 months later, Admiral Martinez received another distress call. This time it came from a mining colony being attacked by space pirates. But now, she wasn't alone. The coalition fleet, led by humans, but including ships from across the galaxy, jumped to hyperspace within hours. The age of watching evil succeed while good people did nothing was over. Admiral Martinez made her final log entry as the fleet raced toward another battle. Today we learned that courage spreads faster than fear. When someone stands up to bullies, others find the strength to stand up to. The galaxy is full of good people who just needed someone to show them it was possible to fight back. She looked around the bridge of the USS Defiance, now crewed by humans, Zilani, and warriors from a dozen other worlds. They were different species, but they shared the same values. Protect the innocent. Defend the weak, and never let evil win through the inaction of good people. All ships, she announced to the coalition fleet, jump to hyperspace. There are people in trouble, and we're going to help them. The ships disappeared into hyperspace, carrying a simple message to the galaxy. If you hurt innocent people, the coalition will find you. When Deathworlders and their allies decide to fight for justice, even the strongest bullies learn to be afraid. The galaxy would never be the same.